Let's get these people more involved. So, all right. Well, I will stop blabbering, and Kevin, it's all you. Thanks for being here today.
Hello, hello. Hi guys, nice to see you. Thank you, Jam. All right, let's get right into it. So, what we're going to be looking at today is essentially a system that allows you to take an idea that you have and through an automation have a complete YouTube script that is created for you. The system will be trained on how you like to start your videos, so what is said in the introduction. It will be trained on how you like to end your videos, so the call to actions, whatever that might be. And the system is then responsible for building what happens in the middle of the video. We're going to start by building that. However, there's a lot of stuff that can take place before, during, and even after the whole automation. Before, it might go into some research on current trends if your videos are not evergreen. In between, you might want to include, I don't know, longer sections, or some people like to have a long form video created and a short form video created. At the end, you might have different call to actions that are picked at random. So it's not always go to my website and do something. So there's a lot of things that can be added to the system as well. But what I would love to do is have the foundation created and then open up the floor, get your inputs in terms of what you want to build on top of this. And we can sort of workshop this as we go along. So does that make sense? First of all, can I get some yes in the chat just to ensure I'm not speaking
Yes.
to myself? Awesome. Thank you, Barbara. Appreciate that. So let me share my screen. This is desktop 2 right here. And let's go here. Let me know if you can see my YouTube script generator format here. Yeah, all right, awesome. So what I have built here, and I'll show you how to do this, is a sort of quick input form, if you will, that will allow me to either sign up, in quotes, as a new user or choose returning user. The reason for this is that over here in Airtable, which is my favorite database tool that is sort of Google Sheets, but much more than that, I have created different user profiles. So I've created a fake profile for Alex, Sarah, Marcus, and Emma. And because of this, I have already saved the channel topic for this person. I've saved the video type. I've saved the target audience for this person, the personal intro, the call to actions. So with this system, you'll be able to have, if you wanted, multiple clients or even multiple, I don't want to say multiple personalities because that sounds quite bad. But you could have different personas, I think that's the word I'm looking for your own YouTube channel, right? So if you have, I don't know, like you create a video that is more on the educational side versus the entertainment side, you could have different personalities for Kevin Educator, Kevin Entertainer, and maybe the channel topic might differ slightly or the intro might differ slightly. So with this sort of system, you can then choose which persona you're creating the video for. Let me know if that makes sense so far. Yeah?
Yep.
All right, perfect. So this is sort of the first part where when it comes to adding a new user. However, that is a one-time setup because the main thing is when we have a, here I call it returning user. And what this will allow me to do is insert, for example, my name right here, which in this case doesn't really exist, but just to give you a quick demo. And then we run through a series of questions. So what's your video? I don't know, AI automation. I hit generate, and that will create the script based on what it knows about the person I would have entered right here. So about Emma, for example, plus the topic that I would have inserted right here. If it's a new user, then it asks me all the questions that are needed so that it would add the new row right here. So we have two different sort of branches, two different routes, whether it's to create a new user right here under business information, or we create a new video for that specific persona. When it comes to the actual video, this is what it would look like. So we have the person under which this is created. We have the video script, and in the script, in the automation, I aim for around 10 minutes when it comes to the video length, but this is also variable. And then we have that video right there, ready to go. We can also take this further, so we can have different statuses, such as, I don't know, waiting for approval, or recorded and needs to be edited, or published. So then we can have different categories, different tags for each individual video. But before we move ahead with that, let me have a look at the chat, see if there's anything here. How was the video script generated? The video script is generated through the automation that I'm going to be building. Chris. So, any questions? I don't know if someone unmuted or some feedback. No, all good, all good.
No,
Thanks for asking.
No questions, Kevin. Sorry about
Awesome.
that.
All good, all good. When it comes to the form right here, and I'm happy to share all of this with you guys after the call. All I did right here is I went to Claude and I said, create me an HTML form that has the flow. I want to run it through a local HTML file, and I provided the webhook. So essentially, I created this beforehand when it comes to the different steps. I pasted this in here, and then I said I needed to send information to this webhook. If you are not familiar with what a webhook is in make.com, which is the tool we're going to be using to build this automation, you can click on the plus sign and then click webhook. Click on custom webhook and click add. And this will give you this URL right here. That is, in a way, once you run this, listening for incoming requests. So when someone hits the submit button in this form, this information is then sent to the webhook that is listening right here. And this is what started the whole automation. So whether we're adding a new person or creating a new video, this will be the thing that is listening for incoming information. So this will be the first step in the whole automation that we are building. So if we were to start this from scratch, we're going to go to Claude. And what I will say here is that you don't have to create a custom form like I'm doing here. If you have access to something like Typeform, for example, or any sort of form on WordPress, this can be the thing that starts the whole automation. In my case, I just want to show you how to do it from scratch if you didn't have access to any of those sort of form tools. One other thing I'll mention before I'll show you this is that if you're using something like N8N, which I know someone in the community posted about this, N8N has a native form feature. So you could use the native feature if you're using N8N. With make.com, that isn't a native feature. So we have to either use another service or create a simple form like this that we can keep on our computer. So it's just an HTML file on my computer. Again, I'll show you all this, that you can run when you want to start or when you want to generate a new video. So, awesome. Happy to see that, Stacy. Let me know if you have any questions so far as well. So over here in Claude, and you can use ChatGPT or any other large language model for this, I'm going to say, I want to build a simple HTML form that allows me to have the user enter their name, and then we have two buttons. One is new user, and the other is new video. If the user inserts their name and presses new user, this then goes to a step 2, where the user can insert information about their target audience, how they want to start their video, as in the personal introduction, how they want to end it, which is the call to action, and then we have a submit button. If the user chooses the new video, then we just want to get the user to insert what the video should be about. For context, I'm building a system that would allow me to add new users to a database or generate videos for users that are already in the database. So I just dictated sort of stream of consciousness what I want to build into Claude. And just as a quick aside, I use this tool called whisperflow.ai. So this will allow me to press a button on my computer. In my case, it's the function key. And that will do the whole speech to text once I release the button. So I love this tool. I think it's a very good tool to use. Either if you're not as fast when you, as in if you type slower than you speak, or even in general if you have unstructured thoughts and just want to do the whole speech to text. So whisperflow.ai. Over here, one last thing I'll add is the submit button should send the data to make.com webhook. And here I'm just going to insert the make.com webhook that we just generated right here. So I'm going to click on that, copy the address to clipboard, and this, in my clipboard, copied that URL right there. So in Claude, I'll just paste that right there. So I'm just going to let this do its thing and generate the HTML form for me. Again, if you have Typeform, if you have JotForm or any other form software, this can be something that you create in that specific software. While this is doing its thing, any questions so far before we start building the automation and the database as well? Yeah, the voice to text was Whisper Flow with AI. Welcome.
I use Whisper, but just for typing. So I'm excited to see how it works in this use case.
What do you mean just for typing, Jem?
Like just for my emails and stuff, I hold down a button and talk.
Gotcha.
So I retired my typing this year.
Yeah. So very basic form, but let's see if it gets the job done. So if I choose new user, target audience, personal introduction, call to action, great. If I choose new video, what should the video be about? So, I mean, it gave me what I asked for, right? I didn't specify anything related to the way it looks, which is fine just to get up and running with this. If I go here and click download, this will download the HTML form to my computer. So now it's in my downloads right here. If and once we set up the automation, next time I want to create a new video or a new user, I can just go in here. Let's just say new user. I'm going to, just as a quick test, put that in here. Before I hit submit to see whether this works, I'm going to go to make and just run the automation. So now this is listening for any information that is sent to it, in our case, through the form we have here. So if we just go here and let's run this side by side. Let's do that. Let's do that. And if this works, once I hit submit, this should send information right here to make.com. So let's see. And as you can see, that sent new user right here. So type is new user, name is Kevin, target audience, introduction, and call to action. So we have one of the two branches that we need, so we can start building that. Your data has been sent over, and I can click start over there. So this is fine. So if I go back here, zoom out slightly, I'm going to add a router right here. And what the router allows you to do is have different branches in your make.com automation. In our case, we know that in this case, we have a condition, or in this case, it's called type. So I'm going to choose that as a condition. And in this first example, it will be new user, as you can see here. So if it's a new user, we want to save the person's information to our table. So I'm going to grab new user right there. I'm going to put in a label right here. So this will change what is displayed right here. So now I have new user. And if it's a new user, all I want to do is in our table, I want to create a record, right? So we get the information. If it's a new user, we create a record in our table, just like I showed you right here. In this case, I'm going to start a new Airtable database so you can see how this works from the very beginning as well. So if I go to my Airtable dashboard right here, I go to my workspace, I create a new database, and let's call this the, let's say Gem Live 1612. And over here, table by default will give you this information within a table. So you can delete all that. In my case, since this is going to be called personas, I'll just have the name right here. And I'm going to insert a few different fields. We know that the information that is sent over, if I look back at what I created here. If it's a new user, we have target audience, personal introduction, and call to action. So that's the information I need to have for a new user. So if I go here, I'm just going to have the same 3 fields: target audience, we have personal introduction, and here I'm choosing long text as the type. And then we have call to action. So now, if I go back to make.com, let's go here. I can choose my database right here, which I called gem, what did I call it? 1612. So this needs a quick refresh here. And if I choose my table called personas, I should be able to immediately insert the information that I got from what I submitted. So I have the name, I have the target audience, I have the introduction, I have the call to action. Which also means that now, if I hit save and auto align this, and zoom out, if I hit run, this is now listening. So if this works, and I go back to my video generator, let's enter a new person, new user. Let's say that the target audience is people with puppies. Personal introduction. Hi, this is John, and in this video I'm going to show you how to have the best puppy ever. Call to action is, please visit my website for more information. Hit submit, and let's see what happens. So as you can see, before I even managed to flip to the screen, this already created a new user right here, right under the personas. So target audience, personal introduction, call to action. Does that make sense so far before we go to the new video part?
So far, so good, Kevin.
Awesome. Thank you, Robyn. Any questions? Anyone else? Any other thoughts so far? All right. So let's focus on the second route, because at the moment we just have the new user. If we were to go here and choose new video, we have obviously no logic in our make.com automation. So what I want to do here is, first of all, I want to run this once and send some information as if I'm creating a new video. So let's put in John right here. I'm going to choose new video. And let's say, I don't know, training your new puppy, since we went with dogs and dog training. So here I have your data has been successfully sent. So if I go here, as you can see, it didn't go down the path of new user. We have 0 right here. So this got filtered out because it didn't match the condition where type is new user. So if we look here, we have type is new video, which is what we want to see. So here, I'm going to copy a new video, and I'm going to add the second condition right here. So I'll paste this in here, put it as the label, and then choose the type is equal to new video. So now we have type is equal to new user, and we have type is equal to new video. Which means that if we have a new video idea that comes through, we'll need to do a few things, right? First of all, we need to get the information for our specific user. So if I look here, let's say I have John, I have Kevin, I have Jem, I have Robyn. What I want to do is, if I entered Kevin as the person or the persona to generate the video for, I need to get these 3 pieces of information, because that will determine the sort of video script that we will create. That will be the first thing. Secondly, we'll need to create the actual video with the introduction, with the call to action, and with the actual body of the video being whatever the idea is all about. And then the final thing would be for us to actually save the videos, because we want to keep a record of all the videos we generate that are also associated with the person, with the persona himself or herself, right? So here, before we go here and build this branch of the automation, one thing we'll need to do is add another table in our database. So I'm going to click on the plus button here. I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to call this videos. And if we think about it, just delete those. A video will need to have a few important things. Number one, we'll need to have the title of the video. Secondly, we'll need to have a video script. What else would we need? We'll need to have the actual author. So in Airtable, what you can do is link to another record. And this will be how we can link a specific video that we generate to a specific persona from this table. Because if I generate a video for John, I want it to be clearly linked right here. So we have the video title, we have the video script, and here I'm going to link to another record. The record will be in the personas table. I'm going to turn off allow linking to multiple records because one video will be linked to one persona. Now I'm going to hit create field. And here I'm going to connect, or I'm going to link to name. So what this means is that if, for example, this video is added to John, let's say this is video 1, video script 1. So here, video 1 with the script is linked to John. So if I go to personas right here, I also see that video 1 is linked to John. So there is that two-way connection that is established. If I were to create a new video here, video 2, and link it to, let's see, Kevin, same thing. Now Kevin has video 2 linked to them. So as you build this over time, you'll start to see either which video is linked to which person from this specific table, or you'll be able to see that John has these videos associated with their persona. Kevin has these, Robyn has nothing, right? So you can start seeing the connection either from the persona's point of view or from the video point of view.
Hey, Kevin, just a question. Is that, I know it's not the same thing, but is that working in theory like a record ID? So having a unique identifier connecting back to a record you need to call?
Yeah, it is. In this case, I'm using video title as the record ID, and I'm using the name of the person as the as the record ID, or as the unique identifier. If you wanted to ensure that there are no duplicates here, then you could use the record ID, which is the Airtable native unique identifier. Make sense?
Yeah, I think it does. It has to sink in a little bit.
So what you asked about record ID, if I wanted to, for example, use that, I can insert a formula, I can call it record ID, and I can use the record ID field in Airtable. So now I have the unique identifier right here. And what I could then do is change the primary field, the unique identifier, to be that record ID. So now it is record ID that is identifying the specific row. In my case, since I probably, like if it's an internal system, I wouldn't have multiple people with the same name. I just went with name. But if you were opening this up for different people, I would use record ID to ensure it is really a unique identifier. Let me know if you have any further questions on that. So in the meantime, let me just change back to name right here. I'm going to remove record ID. And where were we? Yes, we sent a new video for John. So here, as I mentioned, the first thing I will want to do is get the information for the person that we want to create the video for, right? So in this case, we know it's John, and we know it's a new video. So if I were to go back to my database right here, we know that John has this information. So just to have some additional data, let's say that Kevin, target audience is, I don't know, AI automators. Personal introduction is, in this video, I'll show you how to up-level your business. Call to action is, I know, get my lead magnet at kevin.com. I'm going to delete the videos from here. And I did this right here. So we have some information and we ensure that we're getting the right data for the person that we're creating the video for. So in this case, it is John. So what we need to ensure in make.com is that we have the right target audience, personal intro, and call to action. In order to do that, we just need to grab the name field for the person that is sent to make.com. So if we look here, we know that the person is John. So all we need to do is grab the information from our table that pertains to John. So here under new video, if I click on that and go to our table, I'm going to search for a record. I'm going to choose my database, which if you recall was, let me see. I don't recall. I think it was Gem 1612. Yeah, Gem Live 1612. So that is the name of the database right here. And the table is personas. Again, we're getting the information about the person, the persona. What is important here is we have the formula field. So all I'm interested in is where the name matches whatever we got from the webhook. And the name from the webhook is John. So this means that if I hit save and I run this again, start over, let's put in John again, and it's a new video. And let's say it's about, I don't know, separation, anxiety in dogs, for example, right? Hit submit. If I go back to my automation now, first of all, you can see that it went down the bottom route because it is a new video that I have chosen. If I look here, I also got all the information about John from my Airtable. So this matched John that I sent to the webhook to John that I have in my Airtable, and it pulled these three pieces of data: target audience, personal intro, and call to action. Which also means that now we can move to the next part, which is actually generating the video script. Any questions so far based on these four modules we have built up until now? All right, let's keep going. So the next thing is to go to OpenAI or go to Anthropic Claude, whatever large language model of choice you want to use, and to actually create the prompt that will allow you to create the video script. I'm going to use OpenAI here. I'm going to choose, let's see, generate a completion. I'm going to choose my connection to OpenAI, and I'm going to remove the max output token, so I'm not constrained to a specific number of tokens. For the model, let's go with 4.1 right here. And as always, or the best practice is to have two messages. We have the system prompt, and then we'll have the user prompt. So for the system prompt, I'm going to say, you are a YouTube script generator that takes as input information about the user persona for the YouTuber, along with the idea that the video should be about. Your job is to generate a video script that is around 10 minutes long, that starts with the personal introduction that the user wants to run with, then the body of the video, and then the final call to action that the user will provide down below. I also want to have a 3-second hook that catches the viewer's attention at the very beginning of the output. It's also important that the output is just the video script, so there is no fluff at the beginning or at the end. So let's run with that and see what this gives us. For the user message, we just need to provide the variable information. So in our case, we have the target audience. So I'm just going to essentially put in all the information we got from our table with the personal introduction, which is that. We have the call to action. And we have the video idea, which is video topic right here, or let's call it video topic. It's safe, not the best prompt in the world, and can definitely be made much better in terms of our expectations. But just for the sake of it, let's see what we get. We're going to hit run once. And let's go back to this right here. Center and John, new video, separation, anxiety in docs. Hit submit. And let's go back to our automation right here. So this is creating the video script as you see right here. Obviously, it takes a bit of time, but if I look here, this is what we got. We got the 3-second hook. Is your puppy destroying the house whenever you leave? Don't worry, today I'll show you how to help them feel calm and confident on their own. Hi, this is John, and in this video I'm going to show you how to have the best puppy ever. If we look at John, right here, this is what the personal introduction that we added when we added John as a new user is, right? So that is following the prompt that we gave it. If we go back to make, we have the body, section 1, section 2, I like that, section 3, section 4, what not to do, section 5, because I said around 10 minutes, so, and then I have the call to action. So here, if you found these tips helpful and want even more information, please visit my website for more information. Does that match with what we have here? Yeah, please visit my website for more information. So again, it's pulling the information from Airtable for the specific user called John. It's combining that with the idea that we gave it, which in our case was separation anxiety and dogs. And it created that video script for us. So the final part is to actually save that to Airtable. What I'm going to do is rename this. So this is video generator. I'm going to have another module right here, which I'm going to rename as video title. And what this is going to be responsible for is to give us you are a YouTube title creator that takes in a video script and outputs a 5 to 8 word title for it. For the user message, I'm going to say script, and I'm going to paste in the result from before. And then the final piece before we run this end to end will be to actually create a new row in our videos table right here, right? So we'll save the video title, the video script, and associate that with the persona, in our case, John. Let's go back here. I'm going to go to Airtable, create a record, so I can just right click and clone this. And all I need to do here is instead of saving to personas, I'm going to save to videos. We have the video title, video script, and personas. So title will be the video title right here. I'm going to click on result. Video script, I'm going to click on the result here and drag and drop that. So again, the last one is the video title. So that went here. And the one before it was the video generator. So that went under video script. And the final piece is this personas right here. Since we already have the record ID of the persona, because we got it from search records, if you remember here, we're getting the information about John. So we just need to provide the record ID for John so that we can associate the video title and script that we're going to create right here with the specific persona that we created that for. So here, I'm just going to put in my ID from Airtable. I'm going to hit save. Let's auto align that. And I'm going to hit run once. So now, if I go back, put in John, put in it's a new video, and let's try, I don't know, taking your dog for a walk without it pulling on its leash. Submit. And let's see what output we get right here. Any questions in the meantime while this is generating the script and title?
Don't be nervous. No question.
No questions. Either does very good or does very bad. I'm
This
hoping it's
might
the
be an
first.
overly basic question, but when we were back in ChatGPT and you were generating, setting up to generate the video, you said there were two. You had message one and message two. What again were the differences between and why the two different message? I think for prompts, or can you explain that again?
Of course. So system prompt and user prompt. So system prompt is where you define what like you are whatever, you do this, you do that. This is always, this is what I want from you in all the cases, in all the situations. So in my case, I said you are a YouTube script generator, you take this as input, you do this in the meantime and as a process, and then you output the video script at the end. So this is what you do, this is what I'm expecting from you. That is the system prompt. Then under the user prompt, there are the variable data. This will change with every run of calling OpenAI or whatever the large language model is. So the target audience will change each and every time. The introduction, the call to action, that will change depending on the specific run. So this is the user message. Think about it like the variable information, whereas this is static or is fixed. So this is the system versus the user message. Does that make sense so far, Chris?
Yes, it does. Thank you. That clarifies it a bit.
Awesome.
Yeah, thanks.
In some situations, you could go one more step over and above, because then there is also the assistant. So if you found that some of the prompts were not giving you the result that you want, you could have a system prompt. So where you tell it, you do this, you are this, this is the fixed stuff. You would have the user prompt, so similar to what I have right here. Then you could have an assistant prompt, which is what the output of the large language model would be. So in this way, you could also, I hate to use the word train, but you're modeling what output you wanted to give. So if I was finding that the output I got wasn't what I wanted, I could have another message here where I choose assistant, and then I paste in the script that it would have generated. So I'm sort of giving it an example of the user message, which will be the variable message, and what the output it is that I'm expecting. So then when I actually give it the real user message with the actual real values, the real variables in this case, it has something to follow when it comes to that pattern. So that's a way to sort of give it an example of what you're expecting. So you have the blanket system message, which is the hard and fast rule of what you are expecting from it. And then you're either giving it the user message, and then it will give you the output, the result, which is what the assistant actually does. So here we can have assistant, which in our case is what it's giving us as the video script as the output. However, I could also sort of duplicate this by getting it to provide, or by providing it with the system message, the user message, the assistant message, and the real actual user message. And then it would give me this. So if you give it more than one or more than just these two, you're providing it with what you wanted or what you expect in terms of the output. So there is that assistant one step over and above that you could do. Does that make sense?
Yes. Yeah,
Yeah.
I need to play with it a bit more, but
Yeah.
for experience, but that makes sense. Thank you.
Awesome. You're welcome. So let's see what the output actually was. So if we look at this right here, yeah, this is where we run the automation right here. Let me just remove the assistant here. Yeah, and here this should have created a record for John, and I think it was about dog pulling on leash sort of thing. So if we look here, let's open this up. Yeah, teach your puppy to walk calmly today. We have the hook, we have the introduction, and we have the full video script right there. And it's correctly connected to John. So now, if we run this again, persona, let's do a new person and a new video generation just to test this end to end. So if I go here, let's click start over, let's add a new, let's do Chris, new user, target audience. What do you do, Chris? If you don't mind sharing.
Oh, no worries. I have a school tutoring and test preparation company.
So who was the target audience there?
Students K through 12 and early college.
K-12, you said?
Yeah. Kindergarten through 12th grades, and then early college. Yeah.
Okay. Let's say, how would you start a piece of content?
It would really depend on the topic. I guess one could be as many colleges are returning to requirement of the SAT or ACT for admissions. Now is the time to research preparation, or now is the time to get prepared for success as you apply.
Nice. Call to action, visit a website, download something. What would that be?
Yeah, download our our comprehensive college guide that explains the applications process and how the tests fit into it.
And how the tests?
How the tests are part of the process.
The process. Awesome. So hit submit. I don't know if I turned, oh no, I didn't turn this on. So here, if I hit run once, since this wasn't on, it's telling me I have some unprocessed data, so I can use that data. And this should create a new user in my database right here. So I have Chris, I have the target audience, the introduction, and the call to action. So before I generate the video, let's just turn this on. So now this is on. Hit save. So now we can even close out of make moving forward, right? It's just about having this on your computer. And again, this is just a normal, like a simple file that I downloaded on my computer. So here I have user video form, double click that, and this will open up whenever you have a new idea that you want it to act on. So here, if I just type in Chris, choose a new video, and let's say, I don't know, how to get prepared for 2026 without giving it too much context, right? Because this could be pretty much a video for any industry. So if this works as we expect it to, it should have the specific information that it knows about Chris. So we go to videos. If this is generating, or at least I'm hoping it is in the background, what happens in Make, since we just turned this on, is we will not see this happening in real time because it's happening in the background again. However, if this works, which apparently it did, we now get the 2-second hook. Are you ready for college in 2026? Big changes ahead, don't miss out. Personal introduction. As many colleges are returning to prior requirements, now is the time to get prepared for success as you apply, which is what we said before. There's the information, all the script, 6 different sections. And then we have the final call to action. So if you found this helpful, don't miss out, download our comprehensive college guide. So it's following the stuff that we inputted in the personas, I think, quite accurately. We have Chris, who has this video associated with that specific row. And we also have the video edit here that is tied to Chris. So that's how that connection is happening right there.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah, it is a relatively simple, straightforward sort of system, but once you've set it up, you just have an idea, and I think the power is that it knows the stuff, the introduction, the call to action, the target audience. And we can obviously go much more than that in terms of giving it information on our business. So that's one sort of level one. But any thoughts so far on that?
Quick question. Yeah, in terms of defining the walled garden or wherever it would extract the information from to generate that video script, is there a way of, so for instance, if I have competitors or something and I don't want it to pull from their information, but maybe just from my website, is there a way to sort of define or I guess define the areas by which it would extract that information for the script?
Yep. Quite a few different ways how we could do it. Number one, in this case, it's pulling from its knowledge base, which if you're using a specific model would be trained up until, for example, January of this year. So it wouldn't necessarily know what would happen in 2026 by itself. So here, recently Make added I don't know what they call it, if it's a web search. Yeah, Make AI web search. So level one, which is where we're at, is we're using OpenAI's knowledge base, but that is not up to date. Level two would be to use something like AI web search. So here with Make, you can now do a search as if you went to Google and search for a specific keyword. So you would enter the text, and then it would pull information that you can use as part of the video generator right here, right? So you could have it be something like that. So you get the record about the persona, you do the search, and then you use that search in order to generate the script. That's level two. Level three would be to not use a web search, but to only have it access specific information. The way to do that, different ways. You could have in Airtable something that is pulling all the information from your site only. So there's nothing from stopping you here under persona. You could add a column, which is a long text, and I would call it website information, for example. And then I can go to my website and put in the contents of that site right here. So I can say only use the information in website information in order to create a video. You could have an automation that updates this website information. So if you make changes or when you make changes, this field right here would update as well. The next level would be to have something like Devilly that allows you to crawl a website. So here you can give it the URL of your site, and it would pull the information from your site right here before generating the video. So this would, just to answer your question, this is how I would get it to only pull information from a specific URL and then use that to generate information. If you wanted to do the opposite, which is to exclude information from a specific website, that might be a bit more difficult, because sometimes by saying, like, this is the information that I don't want you to include, it's a bit hit and miss. So I would rather have it focused on a specific set of data rather than don't use this information.
If you give it a certain URL, and say your website has, 6, 7, 8 different pages, will it go through all of those pages or only from the home page?
You can give it the URLs that you want. I mean, you can have multiple URLs included here, like different multiple calls. Or else you could use the max depth. So this defines how far from the base URL the crawler can explore. So if in your home page you have a link to blogs, I don't know, or about, then this is what defines how deep that goes.
So depth, would that be ladder? Like if, in your header, you've got about and blog and, et cetera. Is that a depth of one, and meaning anything down beneath that on the menus would be the depth? Or is that just the number of pages on the website overall regardless of hierarchy?
So this would be how deep. So if you have your default URL / blog, this would be one level deep. Then there are the number of links the crawler will process before stopping. So this would be the total number of pages
Okay.
that you wanted to extract. What
Okay,
I like
so
about
the
this,
limit would be sort of laterally, if you will, and the depth would be like sub pages or beneath on
Yeah.
the menu drop down. Okay.
yeah,
Interesting.
So if I have / if this is the root, and then I have / blog / about / I don't know, portfolio.
Hmm.
These are all one level deep, right? But then if
Mhm.
I go / blog / I don't know, 16, 12, that would be 2 levels deep.
Right.
But then if I were to explore all these pages, that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that would be the total, whatever it was called, the limit.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you for explaining that. I didn't realize that was possible. So
Sure thing, sure. Here there's also exclude domains. However, in this case, since we're doing, like, if we would be doing a direct URL, that wouldn't necessarily make sense, I think. Even though you can exclude sort of pages from your own site if you wanted by using what are known as patterns, regex patterns. One thing that you could also do, instead of crawl a website with this heavily, would be to search the web. So similar to this Make AI web search that Make introduced, I don't know, it was like a couple of weeks ago. So here you can perform a search. So you give it the query as if you're doing a Google search. And then I think the exclude domains makes more sense. So it can get all the information from all the internet, excluding your competitors, for example. So this all comes in, like I was saying at the beginning, in the pre-stage where you're doing the research. You could also use something like Perplexity. So if I just go and choose Perplexity, I can create a chat completion right here. And this will allow me to add a message where it's a user message or a system message. And I say, I don't know, find information about the whatever Chris's topic was, like the what was it, K8 or K12? Sorry, I forgot what that was. And this will go and find sources on the internet as well. So there's a lot of different ways how you could do or feed the video generator additional context, additional research, so that the video script output is of a higher quality than just relying on its default knowledge base, if that makes sense.
thank you again. Very
Yeah. Okay.
mind-blowing. It's good stuff.
Yes, it is. It is. So let me just unlink this. Let's connect that as it was. Video generator, video title, and then our table. Now we can have these here at the bottom. Any other questions, guys, in terms of this?
I have a question.
Hey, Flora.
Hey, how are people going to use this?
How, what?
I'm asking how will people use this for your own businesses? Anyone? How will anyone apply this knowledge?
That's a good question, Flora. I'm clearly we can get up to a video script. I think you can probably drop it in Hey Gen and then produce a full avatar. But I got to think about how I would actually apply it, right? I'm trying to process through that now.
Cool. Anyone
One
else
thing you
have
could
any other
also
idea?
do, one thing I'll mention, one thing you could also do is have it not just generate, like the 10-minute video is relatively long. So you could also take that script, and if you do short form content, each of those could be its own short video script. So you have a hook, you have the short, which is, I don't know, 30 seconds to 90 seconds generally, and then you have the call to action. So that in itself can be 6 or 7 short form videos as well. So it's not just limited to the 10-minute video in and of itself.
Cool.
It's a good point, Kevin.
Any other questions or feedback, or yeah, how you'd apply that or how you would take it to the next level, because it's also one thing I'm
I have a
always
question.
thinking about. Hey, Rhea. Yeah.
Hi. So the question would be, let's say we already create a GPT inside our chat GPT that it kind of would be the information you gave OpenAI here, like how to create it. So let's say if we had done that, would we run, let's say we wanted external information first, would we run the automation so it does the actual research for us and then feed that into the GPT and then give us the feedback? So maybe we bypass some of those original stuff, like putting the persona and all that stuff. How do we do that part if we have a custom GPT?
So what you would need to do is you can't use a custom GPT within Make. What you can do is have a custom assistant, I think it's called. So
Okay.
here I have a list of assistants, because the custom GPT is for the front-facing chat.openai.com, and you have the custom GPTs right here. The thing that connects to Make, which is through the API, are the OpenAI, I think it's called assistants. So same idea, just it's a different way of accessing the data. So if I just go to platform, log in, let me just quickly log in. So once you have it, all the information that you want added to this assistant, you can then reference it within make.com. So you're referencing the assistant rather than the custom GPT. It's just one is front facing, the other is sort of more through the API so that you can use it in make.com. Online help. Assistance. I can find exactly where to set that up. I haven't used Assistant much just because I like to have things in a database and then access them like that. I find it makes it easier if I want to make changes rather than having things sort of logged in OpenAI. But I also appreciate that is a different way of, it has its own benefits if you want to feed it files and other resources about your business. So I don't remember.
Would it be possible? I also like the idea of organizing it, so I've started organizing everything because ChatGPT told me to do it through Notion, but I like Airtable as well. So would it be possible to have the automation do it on the back end once you have the information to automatically put it in an Airtable or a Notion, you know, file that you designate, or is it better to organize it like you're doing upfront?
I would have it be part of Airtable because if things change, it makes it easier to not have to, like if I don't know, if I have a one automation or multiple ones that are referencing the same business information, if I want to change something, I would then need to go into each and every one of these manually and update them individually, right? So if I wanted to change this and I'm referencing this business information in 100 different modules, I would obviously need to go and change those 100. Whereas if it's the business information, I'm getting the information from Airtable, I would just need to change the stuff in one place because all these are reading the information from that one single source of truth, if you will.
Got you. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Cool. Any other questions, guys, before we call it a day?
Yes, my question is it true that once you get your first persona kind of in place and you run it through the whichever, then the other personas can be either unique or a modification, like a customization of the original persona.
Yep. Yep.
Okay.
So once you've created that in, where are we? Our table. Here we go. So if I have Chris, right? I wanted to have a modification of this. So maybe if instead of, I don't know, K-12, it's a different level of student, different grade. I can right click. I can duplicate persona here. Then I have Chris copy by default, but I can change that to whatever name I want. Here I can change that to, I don't know, to early university, right? So I have my first one right here, and then I can make changes to that, and then I can reference Chris Plus instead of Chris, or change the introduction, or change. So you could have, yeah, you have one, then you duplicate that, and then you can build on top of that or make changes as need be.
Thank you.
Yeah, okay. All right. Thank you, Roya. I think Ruben left already. Anything else, Flora, from your end?
Nope. I'm excited to jump over to Jam's score presentation as well. So thank you very much, Kevin. I look forward to learning alongside you all. And if we don't talk before the holidays, very happy holidays and happy
holidays
New Year as well.
Speak soon.
Thank you, Kevin.
Bye. See
Thank
you
you,
guys.
everyone.